WhatsApp ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੀ ਅਗਲੀ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਐਪੀਸੋਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਹਰ ਹਫਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛੇ ਜਾਣ ਔਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਵਾਲ ਉਹ ਹੋਣ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵੀ ਮਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋਵੋਗੇ। ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਫਾਈਨਾਂਸ ਬਿਲ ਮਾਰਨੋ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ। ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਕੈਂਪੇਨ 'ਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਬਿਜ਼ੀ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਹੈ। ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਔਰ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਕੈਂਪੇਨ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। Mr. Marno, welcome to our studio.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Okay, you have been a successful business person, running a very successful business. So what brought you to politics?
Well, as you said, I'd had a successful business career, and I saw that what Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party wanted to do made a lot of sense for Canadians. We're trying to make sure that middle-class Canadians are successful, that everyone has jobs. We're obviously trying to work to make sure that our economy works for the long term, so thinking about dealing with things like climate change in a way that makes sense. And of course, we're trying to continue with our very successful approach towards immigration and towards making sure that Canada is a successful multicultural country. So I saw those values, and that's what brought me to the party.
Okay, as I said, Mr. Marno is Minister of Finance because our cabinet is still working till we have next government. New government. At that same time, he is a candidate from Toronto Centre also. He won this riding very comfortably last time. How are you doing this time?
Well, I think it's positive. I mean, what we're seeing from Canadians is they understand that the economy is doing well, that we're in a much better place than we were 4 years ago. We have the lowest unemployment rate we've seen in over 40 years, and Canadians are feeling better about that. That's certainly what's happening in my area, in Toronto Centre.
Okay, my question to you is that being a successful business person, running a successful business, do you think it was obviously the best choice for Mr. Trudeau to take you as Minister of Finance, giving such a huge responsibility?
I guess, you're obviously asking me and I'm biased, but the best way to think about that is where are we 4 years later? Has it gone the way we would have hoped? So 4 years after our government, what are we seeing? As I said, we have the lowest unemployment rates we've seen. We're seeing wage growth. We were able to negotiate with the United States to get to a new trade deal that makes sense. And we've been able to deal with other issues and challenges along the way, like the challenges around immigration that have been pushed on us from other countries. So I think on balance, what you could look at and say, this government has delivered for Canadians, and from an economy standpoint, we've seen strong growth. We've seen a good position. In the year 2017, once our policies started getting going, we're the fastest growing country among the G7 countries. So faster than the United States, United Kingdom, France, Germany, Japan, or Italy. So we've done well, and now we want to continue to be successful for Canadians.
As you said, but for me, the surprise is that none of these are the important issues during this election campaign. Why even Liberal Party is not taking these issues at forefront? We are seeing blackface, brownface, many other such issues which are not important to the Canadians, but apart from others, even Liberal Party is not talking about all this. Any reason for that?
Well, I am. I'm certainly talking about what the differences are. I mean, if you think about the typical family of 4 in Canada, they are $2,000 better off in 2019 than they were in 2015. Mm-hmm. So it's a significant difference. Mm-hmm. We've obviously had a huge improvement in terms of people's possibilities of getting forward because we've lowered poverty in this country significantly. And all those things are extremely positive economically. I hope when people actually wake up on Monday morning, on October 21st, they'll think about how it's gone over the last 4 years. And they'll ask themselves, should we continue with a government that's actually been able to deliver more for me and my family, helping us to deal with affordability challenges? Do we believe that these are the right people to continue to ensure that my children will have good jobs in interesting fields? And I think if those are the questions they ask, they'll say yes, we should absolutely have Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party for another 4 years so that our families are successful, so our children have opportunities. And we've said, specifically, how are we going to help? For children, for young people, we're going to give them increased grants for university. For seniors, we're going to say that the oldest seniors, the 75 years of age and over, we're increasing their old age security. So that's going to put more security in their hands. So we're trying to make sure that people have the confidence they need. And the Conservative approach is they're going to make cuts. They're going to make cuts in infrastructure. They're going to make cuts in affordable housing. They're going to make cuts across the country that are going to mean we're going to lose jobs. So I think it's a pretty obvious choice. The people that are going to invest, that are going to keep the economy going, or the people that are going to make cuts and jeopardize our good situation.
Okay. It's always a challenge for a government, and particularly for a Minister of Finance, to balance the budget. So Mr. Trudeau was asked again and again, are you committed to balance the budget? He was non-committal. Any reason for that? Being Minister of Finance, how do you think that?
Well, I think that people are asking a question that is framed by the Conservatives. What I say, and I repeat this to people, is Canada is in a very, very strong position economically. The amount of debt we have as a function of our economy is lower than all of our competitors in the G7 countries. So we are in a good position. And what we're doing is we're reducing the amount of debt as a function of our economy every year. What you want when you're running a big economy is you want to make sure that you have a small enough amount of debt so that if you ever have a problem, if you ever have a challenge, you have the ability to keep investing. And that's what we have. So really the choice is between a conservative approach, which is to rapidly take money out of the economy, which will slow down our growth and increase unemployment, or a liberal approach, which is to keep investing but reduce the debt each year. That's what we've done. Every year we've reduced the debt as a function of our economy. And that means we can keep growth going, keep the strong jobs numbers, and still have the financial ability to deal with any problems we have down the road.
You were talking about cuts. That's what we're seeing in Ontario. You're also from Ontario riding. What Mr. Ford is doing, any comment on that?
Well, I think that what Doug Ford is doing is very much similar to what Andrew Scheer is proposing. When Doug Ford ran, he said that they would make cuts, but he didn't tell people what the cuts were. And then after his budget came out, we found out, he made cuts to grants to students. He made cuts to seniors if they want to travel outside the country for their health insurance. Things that he didn't mention before. Andrew Scheer is now doing the same thing. His platform, on page 94 of his platform, you go to it and you'll see that he's pledged $53 billion in cuts. And that means $18 billion to our infrastructure cuts. So for people living in this part of Ontario, that means they can assume that some of those infrastructure projects won't happen. They've said there'll be another $14 billion in other cuts, but they haven't told us where they're going to come from. So, it's a very different agenda. Our agenda is to invest in students, in families, in seniors. We're going to invest in healthcare. And we're going to do that by being fiscally responsible. They're going to make cuts that are actually going to jeopardize all of those groups over time and make it harder to get to work, more likely that we don't have affordable housing. It's a very different approach.
Okay, you are talking about affordable housing. There's a very interesting offer by the Liberal government. They're saying that for the newcomers, the CHMC will be contributing for 50% of the deposit money in the beginning. But at the same time, there's a cap. And particularly in these days when prices are so high, how you think, how many people will be able to get benefit of that? How we can make it more simplified, that more and more people can take advantage of that?
Well, I think this is important. We've been very focused on ensuring that we not only have more affordable housing, so we're investing in affordable housing, but also deal with the fact that for young people that are trying to buy a home, that they can actually get there. So we put in place a first-time home buyers initiative, and that means for somebody buying a first-time home, they can put 5% or 10% if it's a new home of their mortgage to the CMHC. It reduces their mortgage by 10%. What we've promised in our platform is that we're going to allow that to go up to homes up to, in the Toronto region, up to $750,000.
Okay.
And that's important because it means that for people in a higher cost area like the Toronto area, that they'll have the possibility to do this and have lower mortgage payments, 5% or 10% lower mortgage payments. This will help many people, and in particular it'll help people that are trying to get into that first time home. So people that are, in their 30s and thinking about how they get there.
Canada had a big challenge when they were dealing with the Trump administration on NAFTA. Our Minister of External Affairs, Chrystia Freeland, she did a good job. It was a very intense kind of, negotiation with US. End of the day, Canada could get many of those things which they were looking for. Of course, in such kind of situation, it's a give and take. But we are going to ask Mr. Bill Morneau what he thinks on the achievement of the government on NAFTA, where we stand on that. Because so far it has been ratified yet, but where we are on that. So our conversation with Mr. Morneau will continue after the break.